You're listening to The Mouth.
Every Friday on Source FM. You're listening to The Mouth.
Hello, and welcome to The Mouth. I'm your host, Dominic Frolick.
I'm Scarlett Jeffries.
And I'm Lily Bailey.
Today, we're going to be taking you through some of the local news and, of course, the weather and what's ons. We hope you enjoy the show.
The headlines today.
The future of Cornwall's buses are under threat. After First Bus pulls out, we asked, will the cost climb even further?
Students are either not coming to uni, that are deciding whether it's lunch or a bus ticket. And we knew that anyway. We've been hearing that for the past year, whether it's deciding if you're going to get lunch or if you're going to get your essential hygiene product.
You're listening to The Mouth.
Stop the chop. The trees that have caused so much heartache in Falmouth are due to be cut down next week.
I know that there is a general mistrust because we haven't been able to share all the evidence that we would have liked to have been able to share, but the council has looked and re-looked at the issue, and we have come to the conclusion that there is no alternative, unfortunately.
And Christmas shopping in Cornwall stripped back. How will shops cope?
Think more before they buy, which is a shame, really. Not just for us, but for everyone. You don't want to have to feel that strain and have to choose between this or that.
You're listening to The Mouth.
Cornwall buses are facing a difficult future. The county's biggest company, First Bus, is stopping all its services from February next year. Students and locals say they're worried about the future of Cornwall's transport system and whether the cost will go up. May Angelini reports.
After the recent news that First Bus is withdrawing all of its services in Cornwall from February 2026, the county has been left uncertain about the future of its public transport. But with Go Cornwall now announcing that no community will be left unserved and their priority is to keep Cornwall connected, there is hope that certain bus routes will be covered by other bus companies. However, this is not the only thing worrying public transport users. As living costs rise, bus fares have become more expensive, tripling over the last 2 years, with students, the elderly and less fortunate being most affected. But the real question is, can people actually afford to get on these buses? I spoke to Jadelle Luckman, who is the Student Union President for Falmouth, to find out just how much it has impacted students at the university.
It's just constant conversations with partners about what they're doing, because obviously we're just a small charity, so it's been more holding higher up people accountable for what they can do. A lot of the feedback that we're getting is students are either not coming to uni, that are deciding whether it's lunch or a bus ticket. And we knew that anyway. We've been hearing that for the past year, whether it's deciding if you're going to get lunch or if you're going to get your essential hygiene products.
With no other cheaper services running for university students between campuses and First Bus getting rid of their student bundles, students are having to do their best to make ends meet.
I live in Falmouth, but I do have to travel in and out because I'm on Penryn campus. So it is very difficult and there isn't really a way around it, unfortunately.
However, the student union has been helping students where they can.
And as a students' union, we've brought 150-ish bus tickets, and then we've been giving out to students that are in need.
Going forward, FX Plus is now exploring a carpooling scheme to help students reach campus for lower costs. In the coming weeks, more information will be released about who will take over the bus routes, and the student union will continue pushing for cheaper, more reliable services.
3 lime trees in Falmouth are causing a big headache for Cornwall Council. The authority wants to chop them down next week because their roots are causing a nuisance. It's caused huge protests amongst locals who say they want to keep their trees. Ollie Chalkley went to a heated public meeting about them.
Falmouth is a beautiful green town in the summer. Though in the winter it gets cold and wet, it still retains much of the allure, thanks in part to the trees lining the roads. I am currently near Trelawney Road in Falmouth. The road is relatively unassuming, if not charming. Its tarmac, once strewn with the fallen autumn leaves, now is bare. However, there's trouble brewing. The lime trees lining the pavement are due to be felled on the orders of Cornwall Council. Planted 60 years ago, the council claims that the roots have begun to grow under the pavement and interfere with utility cables beneath the tarmac, as well as to upturn it, creating a hazard. Though the council has been scheduled multiple times previously to cut down the trees, they have been met with protests at each attempt, with many concerns being raised by the community. I recently attended a meeting organised between Cornwall Council and local protest organisers Stop the Chop, which was put forward in the hopes of reaffirming the trust of the local community and attempting to create clarity and explain the decision-making process regarding the removal of the trees. Chairing the meeting was Cornwall Council's Strategic Director for Sustainable Growth and Place, Phil Mason. The talks were wide-ranging and varied, with many questions being asked, ranging from worries about ecological reports to complaints regarding an out-of-court settlement that was made between the council and the parties involved, which Mr. Mason explained that he regrets was done in secret. Tensions flared from time to time within the meeting, with the occasional raising of voices and jeers. Particularly Mr. Mason was accused of filibustering more than once. The meeting eventually finished with Phil Mason at the same point he started at. The trees will be coming down, as he believes they have operated within the law and that the council have acted in the best interest of the public, a point questioned by many attendees. After the event, I was able to have a brief word with Mr. Mason to hear a quick statement.
Hi, I'm Phil Mason, Strategic Director of Cornwall Council, and I've come to Falmouth tonight to talk to the public in a meeting about why the council believes that the 3 lime trees in Trelawney Road are going to have to be removed. We've held quite a long evening with lots of questions and lots of answers. I know that there is a general mistrust because we haven't been able to share all the evidence that we would have liked to have been able to share, but the council has looked and re-looked at the issue, and we have come to the conclusion that there is no alternative, unfortunately, to remove those 3 trees. I've been really clear with the public that that isn't a policy position of the council, it's just about this particular circumstance and the damage they are causing, and that the council actually wants to protect and plant more street trees and more trees generally through Cornwall. It was a amicable conversation, and I'm pleased that so many people turned out and with that exchange of views this evening. Thank you.
I also got a statement from one of the Stop the Chop organisers. It goes as follows. The community were fantastic not only for turning up at short notice, but asking intelligent, searching questions. The answers sadly were far from what was needed. The council are entrenched in their view and will not be deterred from their illegal course of action to fell the 3 trees without supplying a shred of evidence. A fundamental requirement of the duty to consult. A law brought in to stop the council officers from doing exactly what Phil Mason and co are doing, running roughshod over the law and ignoring any public outcry. We still don't know if 1 tree root is causing a problem or more. What is so secret about a report that can't be shared? The conclusion drawn is that the evidence does not require the felling of the 3 trees, hence the council being unable to comply with the law. Though there are protests and police presence expected at the felling on Monday, it appears that the life of these lime trees is soon to be over, and will be a conclusion to a tumultuous back and forth dating back over a year.
Here in Cornwall, many shops rely on Christmas shopping as a big boost. But this year there are worries people in the county just don't have enough money to buy as much as previous years, Lily Bailey reports.
With the lead up to Christmas right around the corner, I spoke to Ed Talling, a body shop worker in Truro, and Em Parker, the owner of Bean in Falmouth, about their preparations towards the busy Christmas season, with the cost of living becoming higher than ever before.
Christmas is always a really hard time. I've worked in a few jobs over Christmas, and it's always so stressful. This Christmas we are supporting K9 Crusaders and the Women's Centre Cornwall, so customers can donate a little gift set or whatever they fancy.
For most retail businesses, this is the busiest time of the year, but obviously for us, summer is the busiest time of the year. So this time of year is always a bit slower, especially for some reason the start of November is just always dead. We've had a shop for 5 years here and it's the same every single year. The kind of lull between tourist season and Christmas can feel like a bit of a drag.
Yeah.
But it's fine. We're lucky in that we're not a completely seasonal business. We don't rely solely on tourists. Like some of the other shops in Falmouth that sell just souvenirs or stuff like that. We I guess our main customer base are students or young people living in the town.
I feel like the cost of living crisis seems to be going on for ages, but it's definitely harder, especially for students and younger people. It's quite hard to afford anything.
Massively. People just don't have disposable income anymore, so I mean, nothing we sell is actually essential. We sell things that everyone wants, and I think you need little treats and trinkets and fun stuff, but yeah, I mean, we've noticed like our sales aren't what they were, for example, like immediately after COVID, because a lot of, not obviously everyone, but a lot of people had a lot more money after that because they weren't going out spending all the time, and that's when we first opened the shop. So for the couple of years straight after that, our sales were like insane. Now they've like steady and they're fine, but I think this year people are having to think more before they buy, which is a shame, really. Not just for us, but for everyone. Like, you don't want to have to feel that strain and have to like choose between this or that. So I wonder if Christmas, like other people will be doing a smaller Christmas. People are more worried and more conscious of their spending.
You're listening to The Now.
Stay tuned, coming up soon in our show today.
Shutting shop, we hear why Falmouth retailers are closing their doors.
Profits weren't increasing enough to cover the costs sustainably. Like, I wasn't losing money, but I felt like it was the right time to get out before that started happening.
What's it like to be Cornwall's first women-only folk dancing group? We have a special report.
One of Cornwall's most remote football teams gets a new clubhouse, built by the players themselves.
When it comes to the construction of our clubhouse, some of the players do have jobs in construction, and seeing all them come together to help build the house, for the chairman, it was a weight lifted off his shoulders.
You're listening to The Now.
We've been hearing over the last few weeks about Falmouth's High Street and how some places are struggling to stay open. Some large outlets like Anne's Cottage Surf Shop and Poundland are shutting, and Trago Mills says it's also facing the chop. We wanted to find out why shops are closing their doors, so we spoke to the owner of a Falmouth eco-friendly shop called Unwrap. Tia Body spoke to the owner, Hannah Pearce, about why she decided to close down this autumn.
Profits weren't increasing enough to cover the costs sustainably. Like, I wasn't losing money, but I felt like it was the right time to get out before that started happening, because I feel like this year that potentially could have started happening. The lease was coming up on the property. My landlady was also quite elderly and looking to sell the building. So there was a lot of other things that fed into it, but ultimately it was my decision, and it came down to that like stress of finances, really.
Can you give us a little bit of background and kind of like context on what it was like to run that shop for those 7 years?
Sure. So it was really busy at the beginning and really busy all the way up until COVID hit, and even during COVID. So we had a good year and a bit of really successful sales, really good Christmases. And because we weren't a supermarket, we had slightly different food systems, so we could get things that other people couldn't. For example, bread, flour, pasta, rice, yeast, that kind of thing. So we were able to provide the community with things that the supermarkets literally couldn't get onto the shelves fast enough. And part of that was because we sold things unpackaged. So we were really in demand during that time. And then it was probably later in 2021, around the May, when everything started to open up. And then all the way through 2022, I just saw a huge decline in footfall in town. And I think it was because during COVID, there was loads of home deliveries. And I think a lot of shop owners would agree with me on that. People were shopping online for things that they once got in town. I'd say I owned a business for 7 years on the high street, and I'd say 5 years of that was fighting. So I'm pretty tired. Starting a community shop on the high street, or starting any shop on the high street, is a risky thing to do, but also it was probably one of the best decisions I ever made. It was great. I learned a lot from everybody, and I felt like a real part of a community that mattered, that cared. We all looked out for each other. So that's way more important than any money.
Did you know that Morris dancing has been around here in the UK for over 600 years? Here in Cornwall it continues to thrive. Traditionally, it's been all men, But now, a new group in Falmouth has integrated a more modern approach with an all-women group. Scarlett Jeffries reports.
I'm Penny.
And I'm Betty.
So I read on your website that your name was inspired by Joan the Wag. Is it Wad or yeah?
We say Wad. This is so. It's actually a bit controversial because we have seen it as Wad, as in mad, but we've also seen it as in wad,
as in odd,
or nod. So we're not actually 100% sure how it was pronounced as the old Cornish.
But we're either mad or odd.
Yeah.
Are a lot of your like dances like inspired by old folklore and like Cornish style?
Some of them are traditional dances, and all of them have been a little bit re-choreographed, haven't they?
Yeah.
I think most groups do that. And then some of them are written just for us.
Yeah.
And yes,
so we've been really lucky in that we've been taught by some members of other groups, and some were written as kind of Morris dances in like the 70s and things. Then others have been kind of from a much longer tradition.
Much earlier. Yeah. The Chapeté is a very old tune as well, and a very old dance.
That's the waver one that we did with the hankies. So, and then actually Rosie, one of our members, wrote one of the dances with the two sticks that we were dancing called Thank You Jack.
That's the one that puffs everybody out. It's too tiring, Rosie.
Yeah, it's very... So it kind of shows that actually, you can kind of add your own, tradition into the... It doesn't have to be sort of Morris of old. Yeah, it can be an ever-evolving thing.
I think even...
Inspired you?
Well, I guess... the way that we kind of dress and the makeup that we do and things, we definitely kind of consider it to be progressive Morris or prog Morris in that respect. I think being an all-female side and, really kind of leaning into that as because actually there's a big tradition of kind of women not being on sides, so all male sides or, mixed sides.
To some extent, I think when women were admitted to Morris circles, their kit would mirror what the men were wearing. It was just the kind of, the version with a skirt. So I think maybe we've absorbed a bit more of a conspicuously feminist attitude to what we would wear. Yeah.
So when was this particular group sort of put together?
This is our third season.
Wow.
It is our third season. Yeah, I doubted myself then. So we started in, was it 2000? So that's 3 summers, so 2025, 24 and 23. So we started kind of this time, November-ish, just before Christmas in 22. Yeah, 2022.
Is there any like meanings behind your costumes?
Definitely,
So do you know about the legend of Joan the Wag? She's, in Cornwall specifically, it was a kind of figure that was associated with Bodmin Moor, and as a kind of queen of the fairies, she led travellers astray, and if she didn't like them, if she did like you, she'd light you home safely with a rush lantern. And they think that, well, a Cornish scholar told me that it was a corruption of Jow and Wad, which actually means rush light in Cornish. So, but she's probably tied up with all sorts of kind of more Celtic legends in other districts, like the Cailleach who's the hag figure in Scottish mythology. So I think it's a kind of wider story. So we've kind of borrowed from all that. But one of the things about Piskies that we quite liked was if you wear green, you don't get taken by the Piskies.
What I really enjoyed doing is making bespoke kit for certain dance acts. The one that we did at the Tate earlier this year, we did those dresses specifically inspired by Ethel Cogquin's her paintings. So Penny took us through this amazing process of creating panels for each of our dresses, and then we did our makeup inspired by her paintings as well. So we've done a lot.
She was an interesting thing. She was an occultist, but remember, it's a surrealist. And
we have a massive crochet beast, which we were asked to do a seaweed festival last year down in at Marazion, and we made a lot of kind of seaweed-inspired costumes for that, and a huge crochet beast. That's all in green with sort of a little bit like
slightly goofy expression.
Yeah, a little bit kind of.
Any events in the future that you're looking forward to?
Montauk's going to be really good. That would be really fun. That's the big
Solstice Festival.
That's our last thing of this year, And then really it all kicks off in sort of May next year, and May is always really fun because there's always May Day dances, there's always wassails happening and blossails and Flora Day.
One of Cornwall's smallest football teams has just had their clubhouse rebuilt. It's a story of a great community project, with the players helping out with construction. Our reporter Charlie Lee has more.
Grassroots sports has always been a key part of Cornwall, and with people starting to appreciate the sports more and more, it has led to smaller clubs expanding. North Petherwin FC have now got a brand new clubhouse that was funded by local sponsors and even players. Caden McGuinness, a player for the team, explains why clubhouses are so important in grassroots clubs.
I think having a clubhouse is a great thing for any football club really, but especially local grassroots teams, because it's a space for everyone to hang out and just enjoy the atmosphere. Even if there isn't a game on, some football clubs will have just events going on. They'll be able to hire out the events, and just being able to build a clubhouse is a great sort of representation of how supported a lot of these clubs are and how interested people still are in local football, because you hear a lot of things about how grassroots is dying and it needs help, and of course it does. It could benefit with a lot of help, especially with the pitches, but local communities do a very good job in keeping the club going. When it comes to the construction of our clubhouse, some of the players do have jobs in construction and know people in construction in the local community, and seeing all them come together to help build the house, for the chairman, it was a great weight lifted off his shoulders. I remember him talking to us about the struggles of trying to get this new clubhouse, trying to get the funding. Being able to open the clubhouse was a great thing, because you saw a lot of people after games going in and buying a drink and just supporting the club further, and I just think it's a great, just having a clubhouse, being able to build that, it's just a great symbol of how important it still is to the community.
It also seems that the local people who are viewing these games seem to also enjoy the clubhouse now.
And socialise with people that I may not have seen or may not see otherwise.
So next time there's a 3 o'clock kickoff on a Saturday at your local team, why don't you pop by and have a look?
A special report now about Cornwall's incredible story of football triumph, which has turned to this disappointment for fans. Truro City, who rose to the highest level a Cornwall club has ever gone, has suffered another defeat. Dominic Frolick reports.
A much improved Truro City battled to draw level after falling behind 2-0 against Sutton United, before being undone by a late strike from youngster Kai Jennings to fall to a 3-2 defeat. Before the game, our reporter spoke to some Truro City supporters about their thoughts and worries.
I've got a good feeling about this today. I reckon we could scrape a nice 2-1 win. They definitely need to win today, because if we don't win today, then I think Truro's back down in National League, or National League South, where we probably should belong. There's been a few good players, but it's probably lack of fitness with some of the players, and mostly game time. Some people have been on loan. It's never good on people going on loan and then coming back to first team performances. It's to players to shoot when they have the opportunity, not to walk it into the goal. Because at the moment that's what Truro seems to want to do, just walk it into the goal, and it doesn't work.
Well, I would say we've brought a lot of players in either on loan or from other clubs, and not that many of them have played that many games, so I'd say maybe just use all the players that we brought in this season a little bit more. Shoot when you get the chance, don't be afraid. Worst thing that can happen is it sails over the bar. You don't shoot, you don't score, it's that simple. And as he says, don't try and pass the ball into the net. We're not Man City. Well, up until we let that goal in, I thought we were the better team. We had more of the ball, we were in their half a lot more, and shame just to concede. Worst time to let a goal in, but I still am confident we can turn it around in the second half, especially attacking towards the east stand in front of our own fans.
their joy was to be short-lived. A well-crafted move from Sutton just 2 minutes later found Kai Jennings once again, who thumped the ball into the bottom corner. The match ended, Truro City 2, Sutton United 3. The defeat put Truro City 7 points adrift from safety.
Tough to take because after we come back from being 2-0 down, you kind of thought we were going to go on and win it then. So to then concede that late goal almost straight after we'd equalised was, quite tough. Players had a really good go. We scored 2 goals. We looked like we could have scored more and got back at the end. So, you can't say they haven't tried today. They've obviously given 100%. And, it's just the game's gone against the wrong way today, I suppose. So, but I personally am a lot happier with the performance than the last couple of games.
Truro City's next home game is against 9th placed Wealdstone on Tuesday, December 16th. Now we welcome Caden McGuinness, who we heard from before. Thank you for joining us. Yeah. You're a football player here in Cornwall. What do you make of Truro City?
I think overall it's really good to have a club like Truro. As high as they are in the Football League, it's great because it brings clubs from even bigger, even higher leagues down into Cornwall. And it's a big reason for people to gather around and celebrate, and it brings academies from Premier League clubs down as well, which is also a good thing for Cornwall, I think.
And how do you think the fans are feeling about the season?
Well, it can't get any worse, can it? I think that regardless of how they're doing, the last season was great, and the lack of points this season is not ideal.
Thank you. The weather now. Today there'll be lots of rain and cloud with a light breeze, so grab your coats. The temperature will reach up to 14 degrees and will drop to 11 degrees this evening.
The surf report for Falmouth and the surrounding areas is big swells and winds with waves reaching 21 foot tomorrow.
And don't forget to tune in next week when we'll be bringing in more stories from our talented news teams.
You're listening to The Mouth.
Every Friday on Source FM. You're listening to The Mouth.